Hello. Hi, Jackie. How are you? Thank you for joining. For those that don't know me, my name is Sarah. I'm a mom and an astrologist, and I want to send a special thank you to those in the full moon level of my Patreon. Jackie, who's joining the live right now, and also Meg, who is one of our wonderful full moon levels. I'm super excited. I wanted to hop on real quick to make sure that everybody knew that tomorrow is a very special day in my Patreon. Tomorrow, we are going to be talking about our Q&A. Every third Wednesday of the month is a special Q&A in my Patreon for those at the full moon level. And I cannot wait to talk with Jackie and Meg and whoever else joins. I'm so excited that you're excited, Jackie. We are going to be talking about the big conjunction that is going to be happening on Saturday. Now, for those of you who weren't aware, on Saturday there is going to be a conjunction between Uranus and Jupiter. It happens once every 14 years. So whenever there's a conjunction like that, it starts a brand new cycle. So I want you to think about what was your life like 14 years ago and what changed when it comes to ingenuity, maybe your learning, things of that nature. And tomorrow in my Patreon, we're going to dive deeper into what some of those things are. And so how I do these Q&As is we spend half the time talking about a topic, and then we spend the other half pulling up a few charts. Depending on how many people are there is how many charts that we pull. So I'm super excited. And you can still join it today and be able to have access because I put in the Patreon at that level what the Zoom link is too. So I'm super excited. We do have storms happening here in Minnesota right now. So if my connection gets a little bit wonky, we'll blame that. I've already given my wonderful puppy CBD treats because thunderstorms and Max just don't get along. Do any of you have puppies or cats that are scared of thunderstorms? Because that's my life. I have him just sitting here in my office. He's laying down. He's super cute right now, but he has not left my side since the rainstorm started because he is super duper scared of thunderstorms. So if you have any great tips, let me know. We've already tried thunder coats. He doesn't do well with that. I use the rescue remedy with him quite regularly. I don't know if you have issues with your dogs getting scared like that. I would highly recommend rescue remedy. You just put it I think it's 3 drops or 4 drops onto a porous treat and let that sink in. It's a flower essence, so it's not something that you can overdo kind of a thing. So it is helpful that way. Jackie wrote, we don't get too many thunderstorms anymore, but we do have people using cannons during game day. Which game day are you is that for football or baseball or any of the game days? I know you're out in Seattle. I didn't realize you were that close to the stadium. Or is it a college level thing? Mostly football. Yeah, they do get to be loud at that point. So and now my dog is going to start barking. So there's that. Because I talked about things. So all right, so I want to show you the chart. So this is what a birth chart looks like for those of you who don't. Oh, thank you, sweet Taurus, for subscribing. That's very sweet of you. Yes, you can get a birth chart reading. Let me just explain this part while you put in your time of birth, location, and birthday into the chat. So we're talking about this conjunction right here that's building, and it's been building for the last few weeks. Let me flip this so I can put in. All right, so sweet Taurus, since you are now one of my subscribers, oh, and can you tell me your name if you're comfortable with that? Unless you want me to call you sweet Taurus on when I talk about it. Kai. Is it Kai? Let me see here. 34. All right, 1981. So for those of you just joining, if you become a subscriber, I do a quick mini chart reading anytime I'm on live. And those that are in my Patreon, I do that as well. So there's that. And if you join my Patreon, you can learn how to, talking and typing are hard. You can also learn how to read your own chart too. All right. Let me put that on and that on and that and show the chart. Okay. So Kai, I have your birthday as April 30th, 1981, 5:36 a.m. in Honolulu, Hawaii. This makes you a Taurus sun. Where's your moon? A Pisces moon and a Taurus rising. Have you ever had a birth chart reading before, my dear? And is there anything in particular that you want me to be looking at or for? While I take a peek at your chart, I will wait to see if there's one. I was curious if you've done it through the Nebula app, okay? And then is there anything in particular you want me looking at? You have a lot of activity going on in Taurus. You don't know how to understand it. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly talk a little bit about your sun, your moon, and your rising. There's a lot to unpack with any reading, and when you become a subscriber here on Patreon or in TikTok, I do a little mini reading. So it's all about that. So you're curious about love. So in your chart, your sun is a Taurus sun, your moon is a Pisces moon, and you have a Taurus rising. So this is a combination of earth and water. It's very calming. If you don't feel like you're very grounded, like have a very good grounding practice, it might feel like you're floating in the skies, kind of a thing, especially with that Pisces moon. The Pisces moon can help you become overwhelmed very easily, and you could get lost in things if you get too overwhelmed. Now, you have quite a lot in Taurus, so my guess is the energy that's been building with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction might start, you might be feeling this especially probably in your love life, because it will be next to your natal Venus. Venus is the planet that represents love, our resources, and how we use our resources and what we love about them. She loves being in Taurus because that's one of the signs that she rules. So it's a very comfortable place for her. So you might feel like it's just natural for you to want to have things be beautiful in a very practical way. You might be a little bit of a pack rat, especially if it's really pretty things. There's a little bit of indulgence that can happen. Like you just see something gorgeous and you just want to have it. Does any of this ring true? Let me know in the comments if any of this is ringing true. Awesome. So this conjunction that's going to be happening on Saturday is at 21 degrees of Taurus, and your Venus is at 16 degrees. So they're only 5 degrees apart. So this might be feeling like extra, extra strong. Like you might be feeling like your resources are either expanding or going away and you have absolutely no idea or why that's happening. Same thing with your love life. You might be feeling like you're having this amazing luck with love and then all of a sudden it just disappears and you have no idea why. Or it could just be a dry well. Does any of that sound like it's possible? There could also be some healing happening too, because Chiron is right next to all of that. So you might be feeling like there's big emotions happening, and with your Pisces moon, it might feel like you're overwhelmed. If you are overwhelmed, what do you do to help yourself with that? Do you get into your art? Do you zone out on television? My oldest is a Pisces moon. They end up napping a lot. I just remind them to set an alarm. Some people with Pisces moons, if they get overwhelmed, turn to other substances to help them escape. So are you feeling like you need to escape right now, or are you feeling pretty centered in your body? Meditate, scroll TikTok, or sleep. Okay, so that's what you do when you're overwhelmed. I love the fact that you meditate because that can help you process the emotions. You're feeling very centered right now. Perfect. So do you feel like there's an expansion of your resources, like they're just coming out of nowhere and it's happy little surprises? Anytime Jupiter is involved, happy little surprises can happen because he just expands everything. Uranus is the game changer. He is innovation, out of the box thinking, all of the things. I feel like money is getting better. I've gone on a few dates. Perfect. So when it comes to love, one of the things that we can look to in your chart is your 7th house. 7th house is the house of contractual partnerships. So that can mean relationships that are love-based, but they can also mean businesses or any one-on-one interaction. It could even be you and your best friend. Your 7th house is ruled by Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign that sometimes there's secrets involved. Truth and honesty is very paramount. If you've watched any videos on TikTok about Scorpio, the sign itself, there's a really great creator on here who loves to just talk about if you're a Scorpio, what are these traits? You can listen to those kinds of things and put it in the context of this is my relationship base. So when you hear that kind of stuff, see if it rings true. Some of it will, some of it won't. Okay? Not everything rings true all the time. When it comes to a partner, having somebody that you trust, somebody that really helps you and gets to you and really understands you is what's going to be paramount. Your circle of friends might be very small. You might have a very tight-knit group, and if that person inside your group ever feels like they, for lack of a better term, wrong you, you drop them in a heartbeat. Okay, I'm glad we're on the right track with it. You do have, let's see here, you like to have fun. Are you an artist by any chance? Or do something with artistic stuff? I'm just seeing a lot of that in your chart, even if it's just for fun. No. Does photography, does anything like of that? You're very creative. Okay, good. The reason why I ask is your 5th house, which is the house of play, house of children, house of how you want to have fun, is ruled by Leo, which is the traditional house ruler for that as well. So being creative, having fun, you'll get bored easily. Decorating, crafting, awesome. That kind of thing is perfect. Having that ingenuity of it could lead you to how do I want to phrase this? if you're looking for love, they need to be someone who gets you. They need to be someone you can trust, and you got to have fun with them. Because if you don't, it's like, this is boring, I just want to go away. Does any of that sound accurate to you for this period of your life? Thank you for all the likes, Jackie. Yes, it does. Perfect. So it is possible if you use apps like my oldest likes to use, you're born in 81, so you're in, how old are you? Math is hard. So I'm looking up your age. You're having your birthday next week. Happy early birthday. Let's see here. 2023 minus 1981. So you're 42, you're going to be 43. So you're about to have your Uranus opposition. Let me take a look. 28 degrees of Uranus, 21 degrees. Yeah, so it's within orb. So around this time period is when Uranus, who is the planet that disrupts things and makes you change and can change on a dime. And as a Taurus, change isn't necessarily something you're good at, typically. I'm a Taurus rising, so I can speak from experience. It's a fixed sign. You have a Taurus rising and a Taurus sun. It takes a lot to get you to want to move sometime. Your moon does help because your moon is in a mutable sign, meaning it's changeable. So you can change your mind if it feels right. It does have to feel right, though. So that Uranus opposition that you're going to be experiencing is going to happen in your first house. And with that happening in your first house, you might feel like your whole personality is changing. You might be feeling like people might not recognize you, and that the friends that you had before is not necessarily the friends you want to have now, because you don't understand them and they don't understand you. And so does any of that make sense? Or resonate? While you do that, while you tell me if that resonates, you're already feeling some of it. Okay. So let's see when the actual opposition is going to happen. This is called the Ephemeris. It's a giant book of numbers, literally, just numbers. And I'm looking to see when you're going to have the actual opposition. See, because it's far away. It's 7 degrees, and Uranus moves really slow, super duper slow. All right, so it's going to happen within the next year or so is when the peak will happen. 2026. We're in 2024. So 28 degrees. So it's in orb starting in 2026. So specific. All right, so you are likely starting to feel it maybe a little bit now. You do have that Pisces moon that can really feel things probably more than others. Let's see here. Oh, you left some messages while I was looking things up. I had some big life changes a year and a half ago. I left my husband and most of my friends. Through this healing, so much has changed. Yes, that would be very, very natural. I'm sorry that you had to go through all of that. I hope that you're coming out of it a little bit feeling better. on the other side. Sometimes change is inevitable. You're empathetic, and I have felt this so much stronger. Do you have a strong process of clearing, shielding, and grounding yourself? I know you said you meditated early, but if you're bringing me the heart, yes, you do. Perfect. I would strongly encourage you, especially during this time period, to really continue that process, because the more grounded we are, I feel like the more toolboxes that we have in order for us to deal when things come up that are unexpected. Do you know what I mean? I'm a mom and I was a teacher for 14 years. The more I knew what could be happening in the day, it just made me easier to work with that day. Does this make sense to you, my dear? Let me know. You betcha. Colorado smiling. Are you from Minnesota, or are you just commenting because I am? Thank you for liking the live, Kai. I really appreciate it. So this life event that you're having with Uranus opposite Uranus, this is normal, and everybody experiences this from ages 42 through 45. That's awesome. So when they talk about, people going out and having those midlife crises, okie dokie is definitely something that I hear a lot here as well. How you work with it and how much you are in tuned with your body and how you process things makes that whole ride so much easier. And this is part of what we're going to be talking about tomorrow in the Patreon. So for those of you just joining, in my Patreon on the third Wednesday of every month, I do a Q&A call with my full moon level. That's the top tier level. And tomorrow we will be tackling the topic of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that's going to be happening on Saturday. If you are very empathetic, like Kai is, I know Jackie is as well, you might have felt like everything is heightened, like electric almost, because Uranus is also electric. The earthquake, not very surprising to me that happened in New York City, because this is all happening in Taurus. Taurus is of the earth and whatnot. So tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time, we're going to be I'll be sharing a little bit about the Uranus and Jupiter conjunction. And from there, I'm also going to that part will be recorded so you can rewatch it on replay. And then we'll stop the recording and we'll go through as many charts as we can to see where it is in people's charts. And so Jackie, who I know is watching, since I know I'm going to be doing your chart, if there is anybody else who subscribes to my TikTok, and by subscribe, I mean you click the little thing up here, anytime I go live, I can peek at your chart to see what's going on. If you join my Patreon, I can peek at your chart to see what's going on. So Jackie, if you want me to peek at your chart today, I can. I know I will be looking at it tomorrow, though, too, with you and Meg on the line. That is completely up to you, my dear. I also can pull oracle cards. You're very welcome. I hope that it was helpful. I do have a newsletter that I send out every Saturday that is free for everybody. You can go to the link in my bio and sign up for that. It's completely free. I go into greater detail of the newsletter in my Patreon as well. I have so many things. This is what I'm using, by the way, to get ready for tomorrow. I have so many books that I'm using. So I need to make space so that I can have room. Now I have 2 decks, Jackie. I'm going to do cards for you first, and then Kai, I can do cards for you next. All right, so Jackie, you get to choose. What deck do you want me to use? Tree Keepers or Wisdom of the Oracle? This is Tree Keepers, this is Wisdom of the Oracle. Which one do you want? Tree Keepers, it is. It's my brand new deck. I think you were the first person to ever use it. Or was it Courtney? Oh, they got all mixed up. By the way, that tarot deck that I showed you the last time we were in call together, it is by the same artist. Oh, Courtney. All right, so there we go. Think of a question you would like to have answered, Jackie. And we'll see what it is. You don't have to tell me the question, but we'll see what pops out, my dear. All right, so you got a question? All right, here we go. See if anything flies out. Five cards flew out. Don't find that to be very helpful. This one is peeking. All right. Ooh, this is really pretty. So have you been worried about people being honest with you lately? Hi, Janelle. The reason why I ask is because this is the card that I drew for you, is Keeper of the Truth. And it looks like, it almost looks like there's moonlight coming down. And I'm curious if you're trusting your intuition on whether or not you are. I'm going to read what it says as you ponder that. Janelle, I got to demo how to keep the cord dry. I remember you showing that to somebody in the lobby at Springfest. All right, so Keeper of the Truth. No matter what you're facing right now, how it tempts you to look away, one thing is certain, your anxiety is lying to you. The thoughts and beliefs that come from our early unworthiness programming are false stories. The crippling fear that you are not enough, that it will never happen for you, that you are less than deserving. The crippling fear that you're not enough, that it will never happen for you, that you are less than deserving of every good thing. All lies. This is the time to unmask the falsities and seek proof of your inherent value and great worthiness. Not to be listening to the old stories by telling new ones. Follow the Tree Keeper's example and have a conversation with the moon. Oh, I was right. The moon is in there. Endeavor to hear the voice that speaks truest and beautiful tale for you, even while facing uncertainty of doubt. I have always been told to trust myself and intuition more. Do you? Do you, my dear? All right, so let's see what we need to do. Since that's where you are right now, let's see what we need to do to help you move forward with it. Yeah, I didn't know that she didn't know that either. All right, so what can Jackie do to help her move forward with being a keeper of the truth? Nope, we're not going to use this deck. We are going to use this deck. What does Jackie need to do? There we go. Have you been very happy lately? Have you been finding your joy? I know you haven't been feeling well lately. working on it? Good, because this is what is needed in order for the to feel happy. Happy in the Oracle deck. I think it's interesting. If you pair the two together, they actually kind of go together. It's like they both have light coming down from the heavens. And if you look at the cards, it's super interesting to me how similar they are. And they're completely different decks. Or the Oracle deck is not even the same author. So to help you with the Keeper of Truth, we're looking at the desires are fulfilled now, finding joy in the present moment, whatever is happening, and being satisfied with things that are. You're free from the shackles of longing and able to experience liberation that comes from it and actually being happy in the moment. For your choosing happiness and yearning for it. Now it's time for feeling joy for joy's sake and experiencing contentment. None of this is happening because of outside of this. None of this is because of something outside of yourself. Your happiness is a result of being one with the Spirit's plan of life. All is well. Tide is good for now. Enjoy playfully splashing in it. So does that help you? Does that resonate with you, Jackie? Let me know one way or the other. And while we're waiting for Jackie to let me know, dude, that's what Sobek's been pushing. Ha ha! Well, I guess you got your validation you needed, my friend. There's that. All right, Kai, are you still here? Because you're one of my subscribers, I will pull an Oracle card for you as well. Let me know if you're still here. Mel, what I mean by subscriber, I mean up at the top, subscribing up there. It's not the same as following my channel. I mean subscriber up there. Anybody who's part of my Patreon as a paid member, and anybody who is a subscriber up there is how I pull cards and read charts for people. Oh, you're okay, Mel. And thank you for following me, though. I hope you enjoy my content. Kai, are you still here? Let me know if you are. Oh, I'm glad you do. All right. So, I don't know if Kai is still here. So, tomorrow, for those of you just joining, my name is Sarah. I'm a mom and I'm an astrologist. I also sell Tupperware. So I help you with metaphysical and physical things. Because why not? I'm a Taurus rising, so I like to be practical. And the advice I give on all my social media is usually started here on TikTok. So if you are interested in why people are acting the way they are, I share daily or every other day where the moon is and who's talking up there. And by who's talking, I mean the planets that are in the sky. And my goal is to help you understand why people are acting the way that they do. In my Patreon, what I do there is I'm able to answer questions a little bit easier. It's a private space, meaning you have to sign up to be a part of it. And at different levels, you have different access. At the new moon level, I share a full version of the email that's free for everybody. That goes on Saturdays. They get it early. And there's more information in there than what's in the email. At the quarter moon level is where I start to have lessons on how to read your own chart. They get the same email, and then I also do oracle reading polls there too. At the full moon level, which Jackie is part of, She gets to join me with Meg and anybody else who joins this full moon level before tomorrow on a Q&A call tomorrow morning. It's 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 or 12 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that's going to be happening in Taurus on Saturday. It's peaking. It's building right now. So if you feel like things are just, your resources are changing up, especially if you have something around 21 degrees of Taurus, you might be feeling that kind of energy as well. So there's that. So how's everybody feeling today? My dog has finally calmed down because the storm has now officially passed. My poor puppy has so many issues with storms because whoever had him first really did a number on him. They left him outside. I had an animal communicator work with my Max to find out why he's so terrified of storms. And if you need a good animal communicator, I know 2 of them. I would love to be able to learn how to be an animal communicator so I could talk to my dog directly. So that's something I'm working on. Lots of self-reflection today. Yes. What is the name? Is your name the same on Patreon? It's written in the stars. If you go to the link in my bio, I have a link on how directly that goes to it for my Patreon. Let me see here if I can show you. You're welcome. It looks like this because go to it. You're welcome. There was already different Sarah Brennisons on there. It was super interesting because I didn't think my name was that, normal. Jackie, you were on the Patreon this morning. I logged in to show Colorado Smiling, my Patreon, and I see that you liked 3 of the posts, so there's that. Oh, for funny. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate you. So yeah. Anyways, I'm really looking forward to this conjunction. I think it's going to be super interesting, and I cannot wait to share it all tomorrow. I am so tempted to share some of it today, but then why would you come tomorrow, right? So there's that. Yeah, I am not going to share today. I know what I did. So everything that I'm sharing, I started researching back in November because this is something that is basically one of the big events of 2024. And I don't say these things to scare 24. And I don't say these things to scare you. I really hope that anybody who follows me here on TikTok or any of my social media channels understands that nothing that I share is intended to make you fearful. I just want you to be aware of it. So if people are acting oddly around you or you feel different inside, you have a means to be able to understand it. Does that make sense? My goal is to not have you live in a state of fear. My goal is to help you live in a state of empowerment. Aw, you subscribed. Would you like me to look at your chart, my dear? As a subscriber on TikTok, and that's the people that click on the stars above, or if you're a member of my Patreon, you have the ability for me to pull oracle cards for you or look at their chart. If you want me to look at your chart, my dear, first, if you can tell me your first name, unless you want me to call you Colorado Smiling. Totally up to you. I need to know your birth data. I need to know your time of birth, location, and birthday, of course. Nice to meet you, Don. So while I wait for you to share your birth data, I will open that up. Thank you for the follow. So people who click the stars above and subscribe, that is where you get to have the birth chart readings or oracle cards. So 9:18 p.m. I do not speak French. All right. And I need to know your birthday. Oh, there it is, Dawn. I missed it. So we have 11, 4, 5, 6, July 1973. Your birthday is coming up too. And we have you as Fayetteville. Is there supposed to be a W in Fayetteville, or was that a typo? Fayetteville, Arkansas. Let me know. I'm guessing that was a typo because I was able to find typo. Okay, cool. I just like to be sure. So, Dawn, I have your birth information as July 11th at 9:19 p.m. in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Let me make sure. Oh, nope, that's incorrect. I need to edit it because you said 9:18. Continue. Perfect. I always double check that I have the right chart in front of me. So have you ever had a birth chart reading before? It helps me to know. And a simple yes or no works. And then if you are looking for me to look at something in particular, because I do a very mini birth chart readings for my subscribers. And again, for those of you joining, it's the ones that click the star up there. Just on apps, okay? Is there anything specific that you're would like me to peek at? And while I'm waiting to see if there's anything specific, I will share with you what your sun, moon, and rising is. You are a Cancer sun, Sagittarius moon, and Aquarius rising. Oh, I love this combo. So if there's something in particular you want me to look at, please let me know. With a Cancer sun, this can make you very empathetic, wanting to take care of everybody, especially around your work or what you do for a daily life. You might be in a caregiving role as your job that does day to day. And it may feel like you've done this kind of job in many lifetimes. I'd be very curious if that was the case too. What changes are in the works? So I don't really do a whole lot of predictive astrology. That said, you probably are going through a lot of transformation, especially in your psyche. You have Pluto floating right on top of your ascendant. And Pluto is, he's that planet that likes transformation. A lot of people mistake him for being a planet that represents death in a chart. In reality, that's Saturn. And he's bouncing right on top of your ascendant. So you might feel like your mind is expanding. Maybe you have different spiritual beliefs that are happening. You might feel like things are coming out of nowhere. And if things aren't working for you, you might have thought, hi, Robin. Don, if things are just like falling away from you that you just didn't know you didn't need anymore, that might be natural. And eventually he's going to cross into your first house, where it just might feel like it's going to be very personal. Does any of this resonate with you, my friend? Robin, I think this is the first time I've seen you on one of my lives. Let me know down if any of that resonates with you. I'm also curious about your home. Are you looking to move? Or are you looking to change things up at your house? It's been a while. There was a few you did outdoors by the fire, maybe by about a year ago. Oh, yeah. It's raining here today. It's really cold and yucky. That is a thing. Dawn, the moving of your home, that could be a thing. The reason why is that Uranus conjunction that we were just chatting about is sitting right on your IC. And the IC in astrology is the opening gate to the 4th house, which represents your physical home, family of origin, things of that nature, things that make you feel safe and secure in that respect. So it might feel like things are disruptive. Typically when Jupiter is involved, though, it's supposedly for the best. I don't know if that is always the case for a lot of people. Dad sold his house and moved in with me. Now we're planning to sell my house and buy something. Well, then this is definitely good timing for that. You might find, oh, that's so lovely, Dawn. I'm so happy for you. You might find that whatever you're looking for comes out of nowhere. It just might drop from the heavens for you. This is opposite your MC as well, so it might also reflect how you are in your public life. With your Sagittarius moon, it might not be close to where you live? Question mark? Are you looking for a completely different area, or where you live now, just different setup? You have so many harmonious aspects in your life. Do things just come easily for you if you decide you want to go for something? Both. Like if you just decide, hey, I'm going to make this happen, it just feels like they fall into place. Is that a true statement for you? Or do you feel like you have to work for it a little bit harder? Sometimes. So you were born with Mercury retrograde in your chart. Has anybody ever talked with you about that? Because I have an informal poll that I am doing for people. They have not. Okay, so in our charts, if you have little r's in it, that means that you were born with that planet in retrograde. And so you were born with your Mercury, which is our mind and our communication. He's in retrograde right now, retrograde in Leo, in your 6th house, right touching your descendant. I'd show you with your permission, but everybody's going to see it on the replay too. So you can pull up your own chart. The link in my bio teaches you how to do that as well. My curiosity is, if you were born with Mercury retrograde in your chart, do you feel like the retrogrades make your mind just so much clearer? Like they just don't affect you the same way that your friends do? So do you see that you have your Mercury right below your descendant? I'm using Platypus, if that helps you for your house system. Do you feel like you just think clearer? especially right now, considering it'd be sextiling. Like things might be clicking into place. You're an overthinker. Now is that true for the rest of the year? Like, have you felt like since April 1st to today that you haven't been overthinking things as much? Or are you an overthinker 100% of the time, no matter the time of year? So the question was, do you feel like you're an overthinker 365 days out of the year? Or do you feel like your mind is easier to think things through, like you can just do things easier when Mercury's in retrograde? And the time period he has been in retrograde is April 1st through the 21st right now. So basically this month of April, the last 16 days, has it felt like your mind is like, oh, it's so much easier to think? Let me know. I've been accepting things probably because of some clarity. Okay, so I want you to do an experiment if you're open to it. If you're open to it, anytime moving forward, if you want to look in the past, I can help you figure out how you can do that, especially if you join my Patreon, because I talk about Mercury and things like that in there. Moving forward, whenever Mercury is in retrograde, I want you to notice, does that clarity happen easier during that time period? The last time Mercury was in retrograde was at the beginning of this year. In fact, he turned direct on New Year's Day. So if you felt like parts of December, things were a little bit clearer, that might be a case. Retrograde. So the last time Mercury was in retrograde, I want to go backwards, not forwards. So you can write down these dates. Mercury retrograde started on December 13th and he went direct on January 1st. So that was the time before that. And then in August 23rd through September 15th, if that time period also felt like it was clear. It's just an informal poll. The reason why I look at that is because I was born with Mercury retrograde too, and I just feel like my mind is so much clearer. Now, Bridget, do you know if you were born with Mercury retrograde in your chart? And when I'm talking about retrograde, I'm talking about the little r that would be by the glyph that says Mercury. So this insight really only applies to people who were born with it. The same would be true if you feel like things just come to you easier when any of the planets are in retrograde. Because retrograde is just an internal system. So if we're born with Mercury retrograde in our chart, overthinking is a thing. You don't think so? Saturn is retrograde. So Bridget, you might feel like this Mercury retrograde has been crappy for you, especially in whatever house Aries has been in. You might have felt like things were being thrown at you differently. Dawn has Mercury retrograde in her chart, so do I. And so we were talking about how does it feel clearer for people who are born that way. So that's what we're talking about and addressing. So Dawn, does that help you at all? So I kind of got off track. My Aries is in the 12th house and my Saturn's with Saturn in the North Node. So it might feel like things are happening out of nowhere for you. Saturn. So you're going to end up having your Saturn return then when he gets out of Pisces as well, Bridget. All right, so Dawn is saying, I usually know how things are going to play out. I like to see the signs. That makes sense. Yeah, Bridget, that also makes sense for you about having some challenges mentally, especially with the eclipses, the north nodes and the south nodes in Aries Libra right now. If you haven't checked out the Jan Spiller book of Astrology for the Soul, highly recommend it. You would want to look up, you said that your north node is in Aries, so you would look up the chapter about North Node in Aries, and then you would also look up the chapter about Pisces because that represents the 12th house. Dawn is saying, I don't always like how things are going, but I see how it's playing out, hence learning to accept things. You do have the ability to accept things a little bit easier because of your Sagittarius moon. Your sun's a cardinal sign and your rising sign is a fixed sign. So it's like you have a little bit of everything. The one thing I'm noticing is just for the recording's sake, because I want this for Jackie so she hears this forever. Jackie wrote, I'm reading my chapter right now. She's referring to the Jan Spiller book about Astrology for the Soul. And I'm feeling very mad about how right it is. It is kind of eerie how on point. It's the number one resource that I give to people who want to learn more about their North Node. 100% of the time. And anytime the nodes switch signs, you can always see what insights you might get. But ultimately, the times when the nodes are going to affect you the most is when it's in the axis that is your north and south node. It's also going to be if it's touching any personal planets. Jan Spiller is the author. Let me see if I can pull it up on Amazon so you can see the book. I also have it under my book recommendations on my website at writteninthestars.me. All right, so turning the camera so you can see this, because I have my copy at where I do in-person readings. So it's this book right here. It's really just, yes, Astrology for the Soul. It really is 2 chapters that you focus on typically. And it's the chapter that relates to where your North Node is, and then the chapter that relates to the house. And how she has it set up is it will say Aries sign, first house. So for you, Bridget, you would look up Aries because you said your North Node is in Aries. So you'd read the first chapter about that. And then you'd read the chapter about Pisces because you said it was in the 12th house. So highly recommend that book, especially if you have a lot of placements in Aries or Libra that are personal planets. And the personal planets are your sun, your moon, Venus, Mercury, and Mars. If your rising sign is in either of those, you might be feeling like these eclipses that are going on right now is affecting you too. It would have started all the way back. It could have started all the way back for you in October because the opening of the eclipse season was October 14th on that side. So there's that. Where is your North Node? Good question, Dawn. Let me look for you. So Dawn, your North Node is in Capricorn. So you might be feeling the eclipses as well because it's a cardinal sign and it's in the 12th house. So you would be reading the chapters about Capricorn and you would be reading the chapters about Pisces, the North Node. Now, the sign is going to be felt more than the house. The house is the area of life that it happens, and the sign is like the flavor of it. I guess it's a little bit more than that, but I'm trying to simplify it. Let me see here. What's the best way for me to say it? Because I have it written down somewhere. So the planet is what type of essence or energy is in you. That would be your north node. The sign is how your energy is being used, and the house is what area of life that it shows up. If you go to my website at writtenstars.me, I have a freebie there. It's a PDF, it's pictures that you can see that give you keywords for each of the houses as well. It is by far one of the most enlightening things to learn about is your north node. It is something you can choose to go for in this lifetime. It is not something you have to go for in this lifetime. It is very karmic. So the idea behind the nodes, I should ask first, do you guys want me to do a little mini lesson about the nodes? We talked about this last month in my Patreon in the Q&A. And I know that Jackie is reading the book. Do you want me to do a little mini lesson? Okay. All right, so I got a yes. So a mini lesson about the nodes is this. The nodes are where the eclipses were when you were born, is what that represents. And so eclipses, when they happen naturally, it is chaotic kind of energy. It's energy that is meant to wash over you and help you either grow into whatever you're meant to grow into karmically, or help you release things from your past or past lives karmically. It's very karmic is the point of them. And so for you with your North Node in Capricorn, you might have had, in this lifetime, learning how to work intuitively might be something that you're working towards. So trusting your intuition might be part of it. Because Capricorn is about how we present ourselves in our day-to-day life. It can be your career. It doesn't always have to be. I view it more of what makes you passionate. What would you aspire to do? If there was no bounds, what could you do? The 10th house is that as well. So with your North Node in Capricorn, it makes me wonder if in this lifetime you signed up for, because in my learning of how to read birth charts, what I believe in is we picked the time that we wanted to enter this world. And when we picked the time that we wanted to enter this world, we picked the alignment that was up in the heavens. And that's what I'm reading is your birth chart, is that alignment that you picked. Your intuition is on fire. I don't always like being so right. That's also very Capricorn-esque of you for 12th house. Just saying. Now, it is an 18-month to 2-year cycle that the eclipses happen. They started the last 18 months prior to this was in Scorpio and Taurus. So if you have predominant placements in Scorpio or Taurus, then you might have felt big changes happening that way as well. With yours, Bridget, in Aries, then it's more about being more initiative. And it could be more following your intuition as well. Aries is I am. Aries is the sign that represents yourself. And so are you being really true to who you are? So 12th house literally can be crazy. It represents institutionalism, spirituality, your mental health. If you feel like you're going crazy, talking to somebody in therapy, not a bad idea. If you have a lot of 12th house placements, not a bad idea. Bridget, since you said your Saturn's in the 12th house, especially when Saturn does your Saturn return, talking to somebody might be helpful. I am a big proponent of therapy. Therapy is a good thing. I have gone to therapy many times, and I learned that they seem to represent every 7 years we have a Saturn cycle. And I find that I end up in therapy during those cycles. So there's that. So, yeah, I don't know if this is helpful or not. If you have specific North Node questions you want me to answer, feel free to put them in the chat. I can't look at your chart unless you are a subscriber up here, Bridget, so I won't be able to really look at your chart to analyze it. Otherwise, or if you join my Patreon, I can do that too. I don't really experience anything with my Saturn return, or don't remember it. It was in the 90s. So, Bridget, how old are you? Are you almost 60? It is very helpful. I'm glad, Don. Thank you for the likes, Jackie. Bridget, you are either in your mid-20s or your mid-50s right now. Which one is it? Welcome. For those of you just joining, my name is Sarah. I'm a mom and an astrologist. And we're talking about North Node stuff. I am 55. Ah, yes. So you haven't experienced your second Saturn return. Your first one really helped you enter adulthood, and the second one kind of helps you. It's supposed to be easier, is what it's supposed to be, Bridget. Is what I've learned about Saturn. If you have a lot of 12th house placements, this book is very helpful. It is Your Secret Self. I have my Aries, my Chiron, and a lot of asteroids in here. So this might be helpful to you, Bridget. And let's see here. Yeah, I think that would be the best one for you right now. You're welcome. Chiron, the Chiron return would have happened recently. I am coming to subscribe. Is that to your Patreon? So if you want me to look at your birth chart, there's stars above that you can click and subscribe here. And then anytime I'm on TikTok, any member of my Patreon that is a paid member or people who have subscribed up there through TikTok system, they will be able to have me look at their chart or pull an oracle card. My Patreon, I love. It's such a beautiful community, and it has the ability for you to learn how to read your own birth charts. If you're at the full moon level, which is the top tier, you are invited to come to a Q&A. We do them on the third Wednesday of every month. And tomorrow is that day. It'll be at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we're going to be talking about the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. I'm so glad you've been learning so much, Jackie. You ask such great questions in there, and you have such wonderful observations. My whole goal, honestly, people, my whole goal is for you to not have to necessarily rely on an astrologer to understand what's going on. Do I still have readings from other astrologers? Yes. Why? Well, I actually have one scheduled with a different astrologer that I follow here on TikTok tomorrow. And one of the reasons why I chose to have a reading with her is I wanted to learn from her how she sees the charts differently, because I love learning by hearing other people's take on things. And if you are open to hearing other people's perspectives, you might learn something more about yourself that you didn't know. So I highly recommend, if you feel so inclined, to join my Patreon. It's really not that expensive. I want it to make it affordable for everybody. So there's that. Oh, it totally helps with different perspectives. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing, I think. Yeah. And she does a little bit of astrology magic as well, which is something I'm starting to get into, because one of my mentors, I'm a part of a Patreon that does astrology, folk magic, and astrology magic. So it's been fun that way. I'm currently driving and I'm trying to subscribe. I'll just do it when I get home. Yes, please. Just wait till you get home, my friend. I don't want you to get into an accident. That would not be helpful. Not at all. You've been watching my videos and learning. Oh, Dawn, that's so sweet. I'm so glad that you are watching them. I try really hard to make them practical and short. It is really hard sometimes to do things within 3 minutes, though. So there's that. So, anyways, Dawn, would you like me to pull a card for you to close out me looking at your chart for today? All right, so you have the Tree Keeper Oracle or Wisdom of the Stars. So do you want the green one or the red deck? Which one works best for you? The tree. All right. So I want you to think of a question that you would like to have answered. These ones are a little bit different. I'm still learning the deck, so I'm going to read the guidebook for you. So let me know when you have your question ready and I'll start shuffling. Ready. All right, here we go. Question. Help me find the answer for Dawn's question, please. All right. Well, you were talking about getting a new house, and so the card that came out was the Keeper of Follow-Through. Look at that. It looks like she's trying to go down a path, and she's looking at it as she goes. So let's read what it says, shall we? Oh, I just realized there's somebody hiding right here. But she doesn't seem to be paying attention or care. Let's see what's all about. All right. 44. The number of the card was 44, which becomes, that's a double number. And also it goes to 8 as well. An 8 is a sign of infinity. So here we go, the Keeper of Follow-Through. It is time to follow through. No amount of dreaming and intending or progress making can bring a goal to fulfillment. You must honor your promises by following through with action of every step to the end. Are you married by details? Are you experiencing inertia because you were abandoning the hard work? This isn't a moment about a lack of intention or imagination. You've made it through those long hallways of creativity. These last steps are all about the push. There's a lot of sweat equity required to get the new life safely delivered into the new world. Honor your commitments, especially those that you made to yourself. Review them. Edit them if they are no longer feeling compelling to you. Keep the ones that you feel radiant. Follow through is all the way to the end. That first squeal of new life will be worth all the push. Does that resonate with you, my dear? Let me know. I have closets to clean out to get ready to move. Well, there's that. At least you're not a Taurus rising. It'd be difficult to pass so much so. Oh, good. You are a Cancer sun, though, right? Yeah. Getting rid of stuff sometimes is hard for Cancers and Tauruses. Imagine is the card that I pulled out of Wisdom of the Oracle of what could happen as a result. So let's take a look. It's number 20. Who do you want to be? What do you need to believe in order to get the life you want? You were gifted with the power to imagine. If you can dream it, you can create it. This is the time when your imagination is the key to manifest the life you desire. Spend time daydreaming, fashioning a vision board to help you see your goals, or meditating. Allow the power of your creativity to deliver your images of what feeds your soul, then allows your feeling to mingle with your inspirations, and imagine these things into being right now, then repeat. What you imagine will become belief, and soon you'll see those things come to pass in the outer world as if by magic. So there's that. What do you think? Does that resonate with you as well, my friend? I'll wait till you answer. I love the time delay that all social media apps give. I keep being told to do a board. So my favorite board that I do, I think I put this into the Patreon as well. Jackie, you'll have to let me know if I did. This is my favorite type of board that I do. And each of these boxes means something. Do you want me to help you? Do you want me to explain what this stuff means? If so, tell me in the comments down, or anybody if you want me to. I need boards to be practical. Again, to the Taurus rising. All right, so I believe this is in the Patreon. If it's not, Jackie, and I need to add it, feel free to just tell me I need to add it. So in the middle, you put stuff that represent you. So I put a picture, I put astrology, I put a rose because I love my roses and it's my middle name. And then keep it simple. My word for the year is simple. It needs to be simple, which is very Taurus rising to me too. And then you start in this corner and you go around it like a circle clockwise so that you can bring it into reality. So the first one is wealth. What does wealth mean to you? And the idea for this is not to have picture or to not have words. I think you need to add it. Okay. Can you write me a note, Jackie, either in our Discord or a text saying add this to it, and I will do that with a tutorial. Yeah. So the idea is to do this in pictures, and there's a reason why. Psychology-wise, our mind has a right brain and a left brain. And the right brain, this is my right side, I don't know if I'm mirroring on the camera, is your creative side. Left brain is analytical, if I remember correctly. This incorporates both sides of your brain. So when you add a picture to it, it allows your brain to not work so hard and be fixated on a particular outcome. It's why we make sigils. It's why we make pictures to represent things that don't have words. Does that make sense to everybody watching? Please tell me makes sense in the comments if it does. And as you do that, I will share what I put in each one. So wealth is, what does wealth look like to me? I want to grow a $500,000 Tupperware company. I don't want to have credit card payments, meaning we pay off our credit cards every month. And I want to keep recruiting and adding people not only to my Tupperware company, because I own a company within Tupperware, but also to my astrology business as well. So I'm looking for more people. Glory is, how do you want to show glory in the world? So I believe in dreaming big. This is special awards that Tupperware has in the Wings, Fountain, and Seal. I have written a book and I want to have it published. So that's part of my glory. And then just expanding my mind and having a growth mindset. Then over here is love. And so what does love represent to you? For me, it's my family. So that's me, my husband. Hi, Bridget. Welcome for subscribing. That's my oldest and that's my youngest and that's my dog Max. I love bonfires and I love going on dates. So that's what love means to me. Then we have creative. I'm assuming that means, Bridget, that you got to your destination. If you want me to read your birth chart after I go through this map, I'll need to know your birth information of your time of day, your birthday, and where you were born. So creative, how do I want to be creative over the next year? So these are the different social media aspects. I meditate, and this is astrology and writing. I'm looking to write my second book. Travel, where do you want to go during this year? I have a little card here. My son is a student at St. John's, and he does hammer throw. So I travel to his meets and stuff like that. I want to go someplace warm by an ocean. And then that represents a convention that we do in Tupperware called Jubilee. Career is I want to continue learning. Written in the Stars is my astrology company. Tupperware Infinite Shine is my company for Tupperware, and then my book. And then knowledge, how do I want to expand? How do you want to expand your knowledge? And then family. What does family look like to you? So this is what the map is. Jackie will remind me to put it into my Patreon. I have a PDF. I do this on Canva, and I just update it every year. So there's that. All right. So now I will add, you're very welcome, Don. I'm hoping that will help you. Now I need to add Bridget's info so I can look her up. All right, so Bridget, and we have November 23rd, 1968 at 3:08 p.m. in Seattle, Washington. Continue. Perfect. All right. So, Bridget, have you ever had a reading before? Oh, your entire Aries and Libra are swallowed up, just like me. You're a Taurus rising. All right, my friend. So, you are a Sagittarius sun and a Capricorn moon and a Taurus rising. This makes you a very, very, very practical person. Like, grounding is your medicine. Going outside might feel like church to you. It likely did. It likely does, especially with being a Sagittarius sun. Outdoors might feel like heaven. The fact that you still live in Seattle, if you still live in Seattle, is like probably the perfect environment for you. Does any of that resonate with you? You might get intuitive downloads by doing that too, by going for walks. Your sixth house is very packed as well. I love my state. Yes, I love the outdoors. Perfect. All right, so your Chiron is sitting right on. So the Chiron in the sky, we talked a little bit about this earlier. It's getting too crowded. No, it's not getting crowded, Jackie. So we talked about your Chiron return. And Chiron in the sky right now is sitting right on top of the Saturn in your chart. So you might be feeling like you're getting lots of lessons that you've already assimilated because you had your Chiron return. You might be feeling like you're able to really put those into a framework right now and really move forward with what you need to move forward in this lifetime. Washington State, it's hard to find nature without lots of people. Minnesota's not much better. We're the land of 10,000 lakes, and there's houses that surround every single one of them, it feels like. Totally feels that way, at least to me. I could be wrong. Bridget, does that resonate with you? That you feel like you're putting those lessons that you learned in Colorado? I'm going to be in your state of Colorado, my friend, on Sunday. There's something in my energy that has changed, purging items. People feel like another awakening. Yeah, I could see that happening, especially with Chiron sitting on your Saturn. Saturn is the, I'm going to Denver. Saturn is the great teacher. You know how I talked about, I don't know if you were on earlier when we talked about the North Node is something we can choose to work on in this lifetime. We don't have choices when it comes to Saturn. He just makes us learn the things. And the more willing we are to learn the lessons, the easier those lessons happen. And my scalp is itching, so I'm going to bring this out here. So if you would like to learn more about Saturn, I highly recommend this book. It's called The Little Book of Saturn. It is so cute. It's super tiny. I absolutely adore how this author writes about Saturn in it. It's very easy to read. It's not technical at all. It's not written as if you need to understand astrology. So, for example, I will show you your Saturn is in Aries. And so this is what I mean. It's super easy. So she calls Saturn in Aries the hero, and that your gift is your courage, and yet deep inside your fear is for standing up for yourself. And because your Saturn is in the 12th house, you might have felt like in your head you don't have the ability to stand up for yourself, and that empowerment needed to happen. And so she talks about what's the do's and don'ts for Saturn in Aries. It is, do take risks, do pick your battles, do lead with fairness, don't hide, don't avoid, and don't shy away from challenges. And I love how she talks about if you have a child with an Aries Saturn, if you have a coworker, if you have a friend, it tells you how to do that. People pleasing, pleasure, codependent in the past. Yeah. Well, your South Node is in Libra, so that totally tracks too. See, the North Node and the South Node always are opposite each other. So if the North Node is what we're striving to, if we wish to in this lifetime, the South Node is what we were in the past life. And so with your South Node being in Libra, in many lifetimes, you might have just felt like you always had to have that partnership to feel successful, especially since your South Node is in the 6th house. It might have been around work. It might have been around your health, because it's actually ruled by Virgo. Your entire Libra is swallowed up in your 6th house. It's ruled by Libra or Virgo and capped by Scorpio. So you have your Aries and your Libra in what we call intercepted. So it might not feel always like you have a big grasp on the Aries side of you or the Libra side of you unless you decide you really want to. Does that make sense? Yes, the people pleaser is definitely your South Node. It's right next to your Mars as well, which Mars isn't overly fond of being in Libra, but I just feel like he's more of a romantic there. Because if you look to mythology, Mars and Venus were lovers. Aphrodite and Aries, they were lovers. And it feels like a peaceful warrior kind of scenario that could happen that way. It does, but how? I don't know what question I was saying. You might have to expand on your thought there. I've been doing a lot of shadow work for a long time. Honestly, anytime you're triggered, you're going to continue to do shadow work. Shadow work is something that we do always and forever, in my estimation, at least. Yes, liking different perspectives. The fact that you're willing to listen to different perspectives is a credit to you and the shadow work that you've done. Your mind is a Scorpio mind. You said you can choose to go towards the North Node. Yes, we have a choice whether or not you can go towards your North Node in this lifetime or if it's too hard. South Node is where our comfort zone is. If you don't like your comfort zone there, you might be striving towards that North Node. any with the eclipticals that were happening, the Libra lunar eclipse was at 5 degrees of Libra, and that was conjunct your natal south node. So you might have felt like it would have been almost a month ago. Things are just falling away right and left, especially when it comes to being people pleasers. Like, you found your boundaries and you finally are sticking to them, kind of a thing. Yeah, you did. Congratulations. You had the lunar eclipse and it worked well for you. It might have felt like, yes, gonna cry about damn time. Yes. It might have felt also that it came out of nowhere, because the lunar eclipse for Libra was 3 degrees away from your south node and 2 degrees away from your natal Uranus. Now, we tend not to look at things that are outside, because that's generational. But since it was so close, it might have just felt like it happened out of nowhere, or you had unexpected things pop up. It might have even been about your health or how you do your day-to-day job, too. You might have, if you were a wreck around that lunar eclipse, I am sorry. I hope things are better now. And I hope if you cried, you knew it was okay, that it was okay to cry. Because it was a lot. There was a lot of energy that was happening for you then. With the solar eclipse, that just happened 19 degrees of Aries. So that would have been on top of your Saturn. So when we had the solar eclipse, you might have found that you were learning about yourself internally as well. Day-to-day routines, purging items, people, hard but loving the transition. I'm so happy for you that you're loving it. It takes a very special person to be able to handle that much change. And with you being a Taurus rising, I know that's not easy. I'm glad you have that Sagittarius sun, because that makes it a little bit easier, because you have a mutable sun that's available for you. And your moon is in Capricorn, which is a cardinal sign. And it would have been squaring that Aries one. So you might have felt like emotionally the Aries solar eclipse might have hit you a little bit harder, especially if it around your work or how you see yourself in society, because they were all talking to each other. Does any of this resonate with you, my friend? This has been so much fun. Thank you for subscribing to my TikTok channels. Let me know if that makes sense to you. Oh yes, it's so much validation of how things have been going. I'm so glad that I could help be a validation for you, my dear. That makes my heart very happy. For you, the conjunction that's going to happen on Saturday is all happening in your first house. I highly recommend staying with any routines. It might feel very personal. One of the things that I do, our rising signs, you and I, are 2 degrees apart. So I'm experiencing the same things. I don't know if you are. Because I was studying this event in November, I started exercising more. And I don't like moving my body. It's not my favorite. But I found different ways to move my body that I enjoy better. I like heated yoga. I started doing bar classes. I started doing strength training and stuff like that. Kundalini yoga. So after your Chiron return, Kundalini is perfect, especially because it is something that is ignited during the Uranus return as well as your Chiron return. So there's that. Would you like me to pull an oracle card for you, Bridget, to close your session with me? For those just joining, my name is Sarah. I'm a mom and an astrologist, and those that are subscribers, by clicking the stars above, I can read your birth charts, and those of you that are in my Patreon, I also can read them too. So Bridget, would you like me to pull an oracle card for you? Yes, please. Thank you so much. So happy to come up on my FYP. Me too. So do you want me to do the tree one, or what I've been doing, it feels like, is I've been pulling a card from here, and then whatever you need to do for next steps goes here. Does that work for you? That's what I've been doing for the whole thing today, at least, is what it feels like has been happening. Yep. Okay. So I want you to think of a question. And when you have that question in your mind, tell me in the comments and I'll start shuffling. And it could be something as simple as, what's in my highest and best to know for right now? All right, so Bridget's ready. So this is a card for Bridget to help her answer the question that she has in her mind. They're slippery. I cannot have 5 questions answered though, because there's 7 cards that just almost came out. See if anything flies out. What does Bridget need to know for right now to answer her question? Are you going to give me a flying card? Oh, this one turned. Oh, that's really pretty. So we have Keeper of the Stars. And what I love about this card is, look at all the butterflies. So even though this is talking about the stars, it's talking about little miracles too, I believe. Because we have the stars up here, and then this is all transformational. If you think about a butterfly, it has to go down to goop to be able to achieve what you need to achieve. So the number is 18. In numerology, that would be 9, so that would be completing a cycle. So let's see what the book says. Keeper of the Stars. Stars carry hope light. Do you have the energy to continue to wish? The tree keepers have a favorite saying, always keep a star in your heart. It's because hope light keeps you young. It connects you to the heart of children, where all magic resides. But in our disappointments and disillusions, we get wounded, weary, and despondent. We stop caring or even looking for the hope light because we no longer believe in the power of the stars. Find the courage in your heart to believe again. This moment is asking you to put aside the weariness of disbelief and revive the wonder in your heart. Go out on a limb to hope again. You are worth it. Totally resonates. Yes and yes. In Cherokee, butterfly is, oh, thank you for sharing that. I'm glad that hits so well. So I find that the wisdom, if you're looking for a very blunt oracle card deck, Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reid is one of the most blunt decks I've ever worked with. So apparently this is your card because it just flew out. So no place like home is where you can go with this information if you choose to. I'm going to read the meaning to see if that helps you a little bit further. I do think it's interesting how much, so all the people who have had cards pulled, even though these are different artists, they kind of go together. It almost looks like this is the vine that house is sitting on, doesn't it? Isn't that amazing? So let's take a look. All right, so home feels safe and secure, is comfortable place to rest and create, a place that is known and you can call yours. This card signals your ability to trust yourself and feel at home in your own skin is beginning to solidify. Ooh, you've been talking about that. As you claim your dignity and integrity, aspects of yourself that no one can take away from you. We just talked about that. You know who you are. You hold your head high, yet neither pride nor humility. Instead, you stand as the observer, seeing your eyes through your soul. Oh my freaking Lord. This puts you in the position of power and strength. Authenticity is your home. You are safe here in the house of your spirit and spirit. Oh my gosh. Do you have chills? Because I have chills right now. That is amazing, Bridget. Oh my gosh, that is freaking amazing. That is just stupendous. So these were your 2 cards. So I'm so thrilled that I was able to help you with that. But ultimately, these cards show you had it inside of you the whole time. You just got to trust yourself. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. So, I just realized I haven't had any food today yet for lunch. So I should probably go because I think I've been on here almost 2 hours now. And it's 2:35 here, so there's that. So I'm going to make one more plug for my Patreon in the link in my bio. And I'll have the replay of this, by the way, on my YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that with the link in my bio as well. It might take a day or so for it to get there because it needs to download from TikTok. So my Patreon is an outside service, and it's an app for those of you who don't know what Patreon is. In there, I have 3 different levels. They start at $5 and they go to $25 US. Super affordable. And at the $5 level, you get expanded emails. The emails I send out are free to everybody who sign up for them. Those go out on Saturdays. Those at the $5 level get to have it early. And then I expand on it. At the quarter moon level is where I have lessons on how to read your own chart. You can ask questions a little bit better that way too and give observations, and I can help you with it. Full moon level, you are part of my Q&A. That's going to happen on Wednesdays. It's the 3rd Wednesday of every month. And when I have 50 subscribers or more, I'll be giving away a free birth chart reading for either yourself, or if you have a child that's under 18 that lives with you, I can look at their chart too. I've had specialized training on how to do that. I love helping parents understand the energy of their children. So thank you, Dawn, for joining, and Bridget, and Kia as well. Thank you, Jackie, for being a part of my Patreon and for being on today and for all of your wonderfulness. I appreciate you. Those at the full moon level also get shout outs from me. So I appreciate Meg, who wasn't on today, but I get to see her tomorrow. So I hope that you all are wonderful. For those that subscribed here on TikTok, anytime I'm on live and you catch me there, I can pull oracle cards for you or peek in your chart as well. So thank you again. Have a great day, everybody.